My name is Robert Ortung, and I'm the Assistant Director of the Institute for European, Russian, and Eurasian Studies. And today with me is Stephen Nix of the International Republican Institute. And I wanted to ask Stephen about Kremlin propaganda in Ukraine. So the Kremlin has said quite loudly and quite often that there's strong support for Russian intervention in Ukraine and the annexation of Crimea. I was wondering, what did your public opinion polls tell you about that among Ukrainian citizens?
Sure. Well, thank you, Bob, for that question. IRI's done a number of national surveys. We've done this for many, many years. We went into the field right after the annexation of Crimea and at the time that hostilities in eastern Ukraine had begun. Our polling data totally refutes the Kremlin line that there is any strong support for Russian intervention in Ukraine among Ukrainians, particularly eastern Ukrainians. The data totally refutes that. The vast majority of Ukrainians do not support Russian intervention. And even when we went into eastern Ukraine to do interviews, the vast majority of Ukrainians in eastern Ukraine do not want Russian intervention in their country. Quite to the contrary, the vast majority of Ukrainians would like to see Ukraine as a sovereign, independent state.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and how do the Ukrainians feel about joining NATO and joining the European Union?
Mm-hmm. Very interesting trends and a lot of movement. There was some support for EU membership, but it was really split between EU membership and membership in Putin's customs union about a year ago. But shortly after the Maidan, we saw this number starting to move. And currently, a strong majority, roughly 60% of Ukrainians, would like to see their country be a member of the European Union. Conversely, the support for customs union has diminished from roughly 40% to a mere 17%. So those numbers have dramatically changed, and it's a clear indication that Ukrainians see their future in Europe.
Mm-hmm. And how do they feel about NATO membership?
Again, those numbers are changing. Those numbers lag. NATO membership, support thereof, had lagged behind EU membership. Now we see for the first time, our most recent poll, that there is a plurality of support for NATO membership in Ukraine today. So again, very important trends being shaped by events that again makes one draw the conclusion that Ukrainians view their future as being part of Europe.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you for having me.
Sure.